Hi everyone, it's Desiree. So I posted something recently on Facebook. It was a picture from, I think it was from California, and it said something like, 6 years ago we were moving from California to Colorado, and 3 years ago we were moving from Colorado here to North Carolina, where we live now. And here we are preparing for our move to Japan. And a bunch of people were like, wait, what? You're moving to Japan? Are you happy? Did you just find out? Like, when is this happening? And so I just thought I would do a quick update and let everyone kind of know what was going on with our move to Japan. So it started back in January. We did not, like at Christmas time, we thought there was a good chance that Stephen would probably retire here at Camp Lejeune in North Carolina. And I had really thrown myself into my real estate business here. So we were well rooted. We were kind of expecting, maybe unfairly, to stay here through retirement. And he got a call from the person who, gives you orders and sends you to different places in January and said, guess what? You're moving to Japan. And this was also on the heels of Stephen was selected for promotion, so which was a huge deal and it was so exciting. And sometimes when that happens, they need you to fill a different position. And so they called down and said, hey, listen, we're going to need you to do this position in Japan, and you're going to go this summer. So there was definitely some shock and a lot of tears, maybe initially for me, because it was so unexpected. And just really, I think the biggest thing was thinking about our family. And we've really gotten so accustomed to seeing our family very often. Our family comes to visit us. We go to visit them a lot. And living in Japan, we probably won't have that frequency of seeing them. So that was really difficult. Once we got the official orders in black and white, because there's not changing it usually at that point, then we had to tell our families, and that was really difficult. Obviously, Stephen signed up for the military. I married him eyes wide open. I knew what it was going to entail, and happily. We've had a great life, but our family didn't necessarily sign on for this, and it's difficult for them, and they kind of have to pay for our choices. And so they're very supportive, and we're so appreciative of that, but we know that this is impactful on them, and we feel really bad about that. And our friends as well. So once we kind of told parents and family and friends, then we kind of had to start this huge checklist of, you can imagine, moving overseas, all the things you have to do. So that includes like getting all of your medical records. So think if you're, your pediatrician for your children, my son has tubes in his ears, so, going to the ENT and getting all those medical records, your dental records, any medical record you have to collect. We also had to go to actual appointments, so like dental appointments, to check that we're in good health dentally, and then is that a word? And then also medically, and just sign off that again everyone's healthy, that they would be able to accommodate us in Japan. If you have some kind of a medical some kind of medical issue and they don't have a doctor that maybe supports that or something, then that may change the order. So they're just making sure that they could accommodate our family, any medical things that we have. So luckily we're pretty boring in that regard, so we passed everything. We also have to get the dog ready. So in order to we're going to Okinawa, Japan specifically. There's no rabies on Okinawa, so they're very serious about keeping it that way. So there's a 180-day quarantine, and you have to take your dog to the vet. They have to do a blood draw, and then you send it to a special lab that tests the antibodies in their blood that shows that they have enough antibodies that if for somehow they came into contact, I guess, with rabies, that their body would fight it off, or to prove that they had the rabies vaccines over a period of years. I'm not really sure the science behind it, but I know that's what we had to do. Rocky, he's 11 now. He was 10 when he had the first one, and he failed it, so he had to do it again. Luckily, he passed the second time. Yeah, Rocky. And there's a lot of paperwork, obviously, like getting him ready to go. What else did we do? I have a list here because I knew I wouldn't remember everything in the update. So you'll see me looking at my list. After Rocky passed his test, we also had to start kind of getting our house ready. We own our house here in North Carolina. While we do have a rental property in Georgia, we just really didn't feel like we wanted to have a secondary rental property in North Carolina, not knowing where we're going to come back to. We know we always go back to Georgia, so that's not a problem for us to check in on that property that we wanted to sell. So there's a lot you have to do to get your house ready to sell and to have pictures done and to get the property in tip-top shape, or as best that you can before you sell it, of course. So we've been really super busy with that. We just had pictures last week, so I'll be posting those soon, and hopefully our house will be active on the market in the next week or two here in North Carolina, Sneads Ferry specifically. So if you know anyone moving to Camp Lejeune or this area, we'll have a 4-bedroom, 2-bath coming on the market soon. So what's next? And a special thank you to Studio 910 Productions who took those pictures. They're beautiful. We've been having to plan movers. This has really fallen mostly to Stephen. So he's having to coordinate with the movers during a global pandemic, which is, kind of a big deal. There's a lot of people don't really know what's going to happen. There's a lot of additional paperwork that comes with it, basically, and more phone calls, more emails, trying to work things out. But the military they're still sending people. So maybe not today, but they're preparing to send people coming up in the next month or two. So we have 3 different shipments when you move overseas with the military, or this is our experience. Maybe someone else has had something different go on, but for us, there's 3 different movers that we have to book. So you have your long-term storage. So we'll probably downsize to a smaller house when we live in Japan, and that's okay. I've always wanted to live overseas. So while this was unexpected and a shock, we have come to accept and really be excited at the opportunity to live overseas and what this is going to mean for our children. So anyways, downsizing to a smaller house is just part of it, and that's okay. But some of our furniture will have to go to long-term storage, and the government and military understands that. So they will provide long-term storage for us. So one of the moving companies will come pick up our long-term storage and take that to a facility while we're gone for 3 years. So like I have a really big armoire in our room. We have a couple, like the chairs back here, we probably won't have room for in our master bedroom there. So there's different things, and we kind of have to decide what's going to go into long-term storage. We have no idea what our house will look like there. We're not sure if we'll live on base or off base. We'll find that out once we get there. So that's part of the fun, I guess. So we'll just do our best to pick things out. The second shipment is your express shipment, is what a lot of people call it, but it's called unaccompanied baggage, UB, and basically that gets there first. So that gets there, and they say like 3 to 4 weeks from the time they pick it up. So, mattresses, additional linens, like your kitchen stuff, maybe some more clothes than what you pack to literally just bring on the plane. So that stuff will get there in 3 to 4 weeks. And then your bigger pieces of furniture, so your couches, your beds, probably dressers, things like that, will come in the third shipment, which is your household goods. And so that goes, and that takes longer. It takes maybe up to, I think I've heard 6 to 8 weeks to get to us. We'll see, given everything that's going on. I'm sure that it will probably vary a little bit for us and for other people too. So Stephen has submitted everything for that. We're waiting to hear back from the movers, hopefully by the end of this week, to let us know exactly when they're coming to pick things up. But as it's looking right now, it'll probably be the end of June. So like the 3rd or 4th week of June, those shipments will be happening. They'll come, they'll pack things up, they'll take it away. We will... Also, we've been booking flights. Again, a lot of that part of it has fallen to Stephen. So he is having to contact what we call DMO. I'm not 100% sure what that stands for, but they're the people who handle the move and the booking flights and things like that. So we do have flights booked. It's for the 2nd week of August. We'll be leaving and flying to Japan. We do have a spot for Rocky on that flight, which is amazing because that's not guaranteed. And he's a really important part of our family. So that's exciting that we got him a spot, and he'll be going with us. Some things that are coming up that we still have to do. We have to go get, we had to get an immunization for Japanese encephalitis a month and a half ago maybe. So we have to go get the booster for that this week. So we have to go to the Naval Hospital on base to get that. We have masks that we'll have to wear. The kids will wear masks out and about in the world for the first time. So that'll be interesting. We also we'll be listing the house, selling it hopefully quickly, saying goodbye to friends and family here. We've got, we'll probably spend most of July and early August visiting with family in Georgia. I'm hoping to get down to see my family in Florida as well. So just visiting with family and friends as much as we can before we leave. And then, like I said, leaving out second week of August to go to Japan. It is a 3-year duty station, so we do intend to be there for 3 years. We do hope to come home a few times during that time, but of course, you just never know what's going to happen. So we'll do our best to be back. You guys are welcome to come visit us there. Like I said, we won't have a huge house probably, but we'll find a way to make it happen. If you come, we'll make a place for you. Let's see what else. So really, that's it. We're moving to Japan during a global pandemic, and so that's crazy. But that's life, and we're excited and probably nervous. And I know a lot of people that have lived there before, and they've loved it. And I had visited once in college. If anyone who remembered me back then in college, that I just went randomly one year. I decided 2 weeks before I left that I was going to go see Steven in Japan for Christmas, and it ended up being a super crazy but fun trip. But it's been a really long time, and now I'm going there with a family, and we'll be, at the mercy of the military as far as how all that goes. One of the things we found out last night actually was that when we get there, we have to enter a 14-day quarantine. So actually, it's called ROM, a restriction of movement. So that means that we basically have to stay in the hotel room and we can't leave for 14 days. They'll be delivering our groceries to us and anything that we need. So we'll be okay in that regard. But the really sad part that we found out last night was that the particular place that they're sending people to for ROM, or restriction of movement, kind of like your quarantine, is it's not pet friendly. So we actually have to send Rocky to a kennel on base for 14 days, and he's never been to a kennel, and we're really sad about that. Of course, it's expensive, but really, like, that's not our biggest issue. It's just we're just sad that he will be in a new place with unfamiliar faces for 2 weeks, and he's an old dog, and we just really like to keep him close to us. So that's really sad, but ultimately it's for the best because he'll get to be with us in Japan, which is important to not only myself and Steven, but the kids are so attached to him. So we want him with us as long as possible. Anyways, if you have any questions, feel free to send me a message. If you have any thoughts, if you've lived in Okinawa, I would love to hear them. Tell me where to go eat and where we need to visit once everything settles down in the world, or any areas or other countries in that area that we want to visit. We've talked about visiting, Korea, maybe Bali, Indonesia. There's different places in that part of the world that I haven't had an opportunity, the kids haven't had an opportunity to visit, and so we do look forward to doing that while we're there. Hopefully, again, once everything calms down, we'll do it safely. We're moving to Japan. That's it. We'll update you when we have some more information. Have a great day. Bye.